We are Unitarian Universalists. When we lift up our 7 principles, some of us think of them as a form of theology, but they are more important to our collective than that. They do not tell us what we should believe, they tell us how we should be. They tell us how we should act in the larger world and with each other. We are brought here today by the fact that Unitarian Universalism has fallen short of the image that was presented to the world and to many of those who embraced this religion. But we are also brought here together today by the truth that Unitarian Universalism has shifted course to move toward a place of wholeness, a place that perhaps never existed for us as a denomination. It has been a long and sometimes unforgiving road to today, but we are here today because we are mindful of that past and because we have hope for the future. We want the practice of this faith to be a fulfilling manifestation of its promise. Open your hearts, seek new ways of understanding. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist Church West on this autumn day in October here in Brookfield, Wisconsin. It is good to be together on traditional territory inhabited at various times by the native peoples of the 7 council fires, Ho-Chunk, Kickapoo, Potawatomi, Menominee, Peoria, and Miami nations. May we be humbly grateful for the privilege of living here. As an anti-racist faith community, we acknowledge our need to address the racism which continues to lead to the violent deaths of an oppression of Jews, Black, and Indigenous peoples, and other people of color. Anti-Semitism, racism, and colonialism continue to perpetuate inequalities, injustices, poverty, and exclusion in our society and our neighborhoods. And it is our work to dismantle these systems of oppression. As a welcoming congregation to gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, and queer plus people, we continue to address ongoing homophobia, violence, and unfair legislation targeting them. With this awareness close to our bones, we commit ourselves to the values of equity, racial justice, and right relations. My name is Kathy White, and I serve on the UUCW's Board of Trustees. I live in Wauwatosa with my wife, Kathy, and our pet tropical fish. I'm currently enrolled in the beloved Conversations Within course from Lombard Mead University in Chicago. Ask me about it after the service. Today we are learning more about systemic ableism. As we continue our October theme, the gift of heritage, we will hear how society has historically viewed people with disabilities and learn how to enhance our communication and understanding. This congregation expands beyond these walls as each week there are 50 to 60 folks joining us virtually. From many places at different times, we are creating a community of companions who choose to walk life's path together. So wherever you are right now, whatever your age or color, whatever your gender identity, whatever your chosen beliefs, whoever you love, you are welcome here. I say again, it's so good to be together. And here's a bit of housekeeping. This is a multi-generational community, and there are a variety of ways for all ages to participate. Our nursery is open, and after the time for all ages, those who wish are invited to go to their classes. And always, all ages are welcome here in the sanctuaries. So there is a worship exploration table, quite full at the moment, where there are some activities for those who choose to stay here. If you're a newcomer here, I hope you picked up a flyer on the way in. Here it is. And that will tell you all about what to expect and how to connect. We'd love to have you fill out the welcome side of the yellow paper, so that you received when you entered, and hope to see you at the newcomers table in the foyer after the service. And if you're online and want more information, please email us at visitor@uucw.org. There's a time for coffee, tea, and conversation for everyone following the service. We know that not every space or noise level suits everyone, so find a comfortable place to hang out here in the community room, in the library, and then challenge yourself to talk to someone you've not yet met. Let's continue to build community together. I want to highlight a couple things which you might also find printed with all the important announcements in your order of service. Today we are starting something new. We are experimenting with offering a space for folks to reflect on the morning service. So grab your coffee or tea and come on up to UL4 to join Reverend Julie in good and thoughtful conversation. Vicki Banville is updating our church directory, and please visit the community room to verify your information. The directory will be finalized by October 20th. In this busy season, as the ministerial search team helps prepare us for finding our next settled minister, our work is to support them by providing them with much needed information. It's not too late to attend a cottage meeting on October 20th or October 22nd this week. And visit the search table in the community room or search at uucw.org for more information. And the new ministry survey is available through today. So if you haven't had a chance to do that, please do. They really appreciate all our input.
Good morning again. My name is Eddie Daniel, and my pronouns are he and him. As a member of the worship ministry team, it is my privilege to be leading today's service, a privilege I share today with Deb Stevens. We are honored to be introducing you to our guest speaker, Damian Buchman. Damian identifies as a childhood cancer survivor, an entrepreneur, an adaptive athlete, and a father. I have heard Damian speak, and he is also a force to be reckoned with. He didn't authorize that part. He is the founder of the Ability Center in Milwaukee and the Wisconsin Adaptive Sports Association. He is the vision behind a movement called Ramp Up, which turned Milwaukee's Bradford Beach into the nation's most accessible beach, and is currently working with Milwaukee County Parks to turn a park in Wauwatosa into the most universally accessible park in the country. In 2017, Damian was recognized as one of Milwaukee's 40 under 40. In 2019, he won the Donald Driver Driven to Achieve Award, and in 2021 was the Milwaukee Business Journal Trailblazer in their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Awards. His work with the Ability Center has won numerous community and construction awards, and he also serves on a number of DEI+A committees at city, county, and state levels. I just want to add that I am especially happy to be involved in this service because I have a personal stake in Damian's topic. I've read that people with disabilities are the largest minority in the U.S., and it is a minority that anyone can join at any time. Some disabilities are invisible. or not readily noticeable. My own, for example. My hearing loss came on abruptly and for no obvious reason about 5 years ago. I wear fairly unobtrusive hearing aids that enable me to function in society, but it isn't the same as the hearing ability I used to enjoy. I have learned not to take ability for granted, and I have learned the value of adaptation, something you'll hear much more about from Damian. It is with great pleasure that I welcome Damian to our pulpit. And now, please stand. Now, please stand in body or in spirit as we sing hymn number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
Our chalice lighting words, Weavers of One Story, were written by Leah Ongiri. If you're joining us from home, please feel free to light your own chalice or candle. Please join with me in reading the words printed in your order of service. Here we are, together, each facing our different human tasks, or maybe the same central one, to embrace the lessons life delivers, to discern and respond as we grow, to refuse harm and cherish flourishing. May we know ourselves, whatever our abilities or disabilities, as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartaches and tales of joy alike, weavers of one story in which we each have our part.
Good morning. I'm Sophie, and my pronouns are she and hers. I like UUCW because everyone is kind. Today I'm reading a book called I Have a Sister. My sister is deaf. It was written by Jean Whitehouse Peterson. We'll hear a girl describing what's special about her sister. She will name many things her sister cannot do because she cannot hear. But we should not feel sad for her. It's normal for any of us to have a hard time doing some things, right? None of us can do everything. If you listen closely, you will hear about many of the things her sister can do because she is deaf. Let's see what some of these possibilities might be. I have a sister. My sister is deaf. She is special. There are not many sisters like mine. My sister can play piano. She likes to feel the deep rumbling chords, but she will never be able to sing. She cannot hear the tune. My sister can dance with a partner or march in a line. She likes to leap, to tumble, to roll, to climb to the top of the monkey bars. She watches me as we climb. I watch her too. She cannot hear me shout, "Look out," but she can see me swinging her way. I have a sister who likes to go with me out to the grassy lot behind our house. Today we are stalking deer. I turn to speak to her. I use no voice, just my fingers and my lips. She understands and walks behind me, stepping where I step. I am the one who listens for small sounds. She is the one who watches for quick movements in the grass. When my sister was very small, when I went to school and she did not, my sister learned to say some words. Each day she sat on the floor with our mother, playing with some toys we keep in an old shoebox. "It's a ball," our mother would say. "It's a dog, it's a book." When I came home, I also sat on the floor. My sister put her hands into the box. She smiled and said, "Ball, ball," it sounded to me. "It's a ball," I repeated, just like our mother did. "Ball," she said once more. Again, it sounded like a ball to me. Now my sister has started going to my school. Although our mother still helps her speak and lip read at home, she says like little sister or water or thumb. Today the children in her room told me, "Your sister said blue." Well, I heard her say that a long time ago, but they have not lived with my sister for 5 years the way I have. Yes, I have a sister who can understand what I say, but not always. Last night I asked, "Where are my pajamas?" She went into the kitchen and brought out a bunch of bananas. My friends asked me about my little sister. They asked, "Does it hurt to be deaf?" "No," I say. Her ears don't hurt, but her people do not understand. My sister cannot always tell me with words what she feels. Sometimes she cannot even show me with her hands. But when she is angry or happy or sad, my sister can say more with her face and her shoulders than anyone else I know. I tell my friends I have a sister who knows when a dog is barking near her and who says she does not like the feel of that sound. She knows when our cat is purring if it is sitting on her lap, or that our radio is playing if she is touching it with her hand. But my sister will never know if the telephone is ringing or if someone is knocking at the door. I have a sister who cries at night when it is dark and there is no light in the hall. When I try plugging my ears in the dark, I cannot hear the clock ticking on the shelf or the television playing in the living room. Then I wonder, is it the same? I have a sister who will never hear the branches scraping against the window of our room. But when the storm comes, my sister did not wake to the sudden rolling thunder or to the quick clap, clap of the who is afraid. During the day, I stomp my foot to get my sister's attention or wave at her across the room. I come up beside her and put my hand on her arm. She can feel the touching. She can glimpse my moving hand from the corner of her eye. But if I walk behind her and call out her name, she cannot hear me. I have a sister. My sister is deaf. The end. Life can be challenging no matter who we are or what kind of body we have. But when one thing is hard to do, that doesn't mean everything is hard to do. Remember that each of us is gifted in our own way and able to do things that others cannot. Now I invite Isaac to come up to light the RE lantern and lead the children and youth out of sanctuary to meet their RE teachers. Please look to your order of service of the words of our children's recessional and join me in singing.
We enter now a time for sharing of joys and concerns and sorrows that touch our individual lives. Our way we express through ritual the many ways that we touch and are touched by each other. In a moment, you'll be invited to come to the mic to share your joy or concern. If you have something you'd rather not share aloud, you can use the QR code in the order of service or the share side of the yellow slip to put something in writing. Implement, please. For those of you at home and for anyone at other times during the week, you can use the link in our weekly e-news to let us know what's going on in your lives and in your heart. Remember that what you share today is only for the ear of those gathered now. It will not be posted in the video of the service or shared in our e-news. So now come to the mic to speak or raise your hand and an usher will bring you a mic. A candle will be lit for you. And after each sharing, I invite you to all respond with me. We hold you in love. You can form a line to the side. Come. And one last candle for those joys and concerns not shared, but held deep in our hearts. We hold you in love. And now please stand in body or in spirit as we sing hymn number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness.
Be
For our meditation this morning, we have chosen a responsive reading by Bonnie Vidyard. I will speak the parts indicated with an L in your order of service. Please follow along and respond with the parts indicated with a C, and we will all join together for the final line. Spirit of love, we pray for all your people.
For people who are blind and cannot see, and for those who can see but are blind to people around them.
Spirit, in your mercy, help us touch each other.
For people who move slowly because of accident, illness, or disability, and for those who move too fast to be aware of the world in which they live.
Spirit, in your mercy, help us work together. Spirit, in your mercy, help us respond to
People who learn slowly, for people who learn in different ways, and for people who learn quickly and easily, but often choose ignorance.
Spirit, in your mercy, help us grow in your wisdom.
For people who have chronic illnesses for which there is no known cure or relief, and for people who live in unholy fear of developing chronic illness.
Spirit, in your mercy, help us and heal us.
You'll Never Walk Alone. This well-known classic song by Rodgers and Hammerstein has words meant to inspire, comfort, and heal. The song tells us to hold your head up high. Someone will always walk with you no matter what you're going through. And next, the choir sings, I Want to Be Ready to Walk in Jerusalem, just like John. A song with so much to unpack, including the relevance of Christian symbology in a UU setting, the unplanned timing of singing the song as war has erupted in Israel, the necessity of recognizing this song's history as being born during the time of African enslavement, even as it sings of freedom and liberty, and again, that word walk. What was planned for this service was selecting 2 songs from the choir, highlighting that verb, walk, a word meant to inspire, comfort, and heal. But what about those who walk, or those for whom walking is painful? What about someone who is unable to? Do those words inspire, comfort, and heal? Do those words exclude, despite better intentions and lovely harmony? If they do. Later in the service, we will sing Answering the Call. You may remember that this song began its life as Standing on the Side of Love. Jason renamed his song in response to discussions he had regarding the unintentional exclusionary language. Not everyone can or feel good when they stand. For now, I want to be ready to walk in Jerusalem, just like John. Listen to the doesn't, but delivers a powerful.
Our first reading today, The Prophecy of the Disabled Body, is an excerpt from the theological statement that our bodies inherently have value. Our bodies are where we live, and they're the container for all of our religions. If we tolerate or perpetuate the devaluing of other people's bodies, we're also willing to devalue their spiritual experiences. Ableism is the centering of able bodies and experiences over disabled bodies and experiences, while simultaneously devaluing and erasing those disabled bodies. If, in the words of Eli Clare, ableism is the grease that makes the machine of all other oppressions move forward, then the devaluing of disabled bodies is connected to all of the other bodies that don't have to matter. If we believe that all people have inherent worth and dignity, then we believe all bodies have inherent worth and dignity. If we believe that all bodies have inherent worth and dignity, we also believe that every person also has agency over their body, that people are more than the work that they do, that caring for one another is a moral responsibility. Even bodies that do not conform to a capitalist standard of working for pay. All bodies are worthy of our care and concern because they are human people with human bodies. If we believe that one of the sources of our living tradition is direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder, affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life, then we must notice that to which we are moved. If disabled bodies are part of life, then they are good. Bodies, including unable bodies, and places high value on normatively able bodies by using disabled bodies as a point of reference for negative metaphor. We already know that words shape our reality. We know that it's a metaphor and there's more. It's also not a metaphor. We frame much of our engagement around things that do not include everyone. We don't just put our stories onto other people's bodies, we also put our metaphors onto them, one-directional, in which the able-bodied metaphor is superior. It's not true. Every body is the location of holiness, not just able bodies. When we sing songs that say that the able-bodied way is the only way, we're missing an entire possibility. More is possible. Instead of focusing on the loss of a metaphor, we can consider what else is possible. As Unitarian Universalists, we assert that revelation is not sealed. There is a specific ongoing revelation that is the disabled body as a text and post-textually as an experience. The disabled body, then, is a prophetic body. It calls beloved community to account for a past in which the good news has only been for those with the right abilities, the acceptable bodies. The disabled body cannot be hidden nor silenced. The disabled body bridges time to a future in which belonging and contribution are a natural function of inclusion as a core value and spiritual practice of beloved community. The prophecy of the disabled body is this indictment and this promise. To what does it call us?
So we've got open gym. It's been most enjoyable to see kids with different abilities engage in sports. Believe it or not, we started with only 6 chairs and it would all just go in my car. You got it?
Yep.
Do we want to wait till we get more hands? Hello. Thank you. You recruited some talent, huh?
They offered, I'm like, sure.
That's awesome. This means you guys are going to play with us then, right?
Hey, I'm down.
I like it, bet. A lot of kids actually take that opportunity and the chance to give it a try, which is pretty awesome. The chair is this great equalizer of ability, of age, of all of it. Scratch the idea that anyone even here has a disability and find me a more inclusive league. Where can dads play with daughters and grandpas play with grandsons and uncles play with nephews, all in the same league together? That's the shooter right there. I told ya.
We're joined now by Damian Buchman from the Ability Center.
Damian Buchman is not easily deterred. Not when he was diagnosed with childhood bone cancer at age 13, and not now.
The soon-to-be 34-year-old Buchman is a walking, breathing, 1 in a billion miracle.
This charity, this mission, this organization, this idea that everybody should be able to play together, all stems from when I was sidelined at 13 years old.
It's called Ramp Up Milwaukee, and it's starting with Bradford Beach.
When we first started this, we just put adaptive equipment at Bradford Beach, adaptive equipment at Red Arrow Park, and adaptive equipment at Veterans Park. But then we took Bradford Beach and transformed it into the most accessible beach in the country.
These new beach chairs will help us get to go around and hang out with our friends and family and swim in the water if we want to.
It's really opened my eyes to, hey, we need to do more as a system, as a county.
The collaborators have all begun to see through our lens. And that's powerful. So we're actually helping the able-bodied public, by tying this together, understand what ability really looks like and what ability really is.
My name is Gianni Quintero. I play wheelchair basketball, go to Marquette High. After I got my injury, I still wanted to play sports.
So Gianni and his family actually came to one of our first Ramp Up events. And so the first time he biked again was on a hand cycle at Veterans Park.
Ramp Up Milwaukee and the Ability Center has showed us that there's so much that he can do and be out there with his friends and his family.
That's what the Ability Center's mission is all about, to still be able to play, to still be able to socialize, to still be able to recreate and do it in the way he can with the people that he loves.
I'm trying to get to a D1 college for wheelchair sports and hopefully make it into the Paralympics.
I think just seeing the growth in the organization shows that we are succeeding and that we are growing. And we have a long ways to go because there are a lot more people that we can impact.
We know over the last decade that we've piloted some extraordinary programs that more people want to partner with, that more equipment is needed for, that more humans are needed to run. Our Ramp Up program, how do we build universal parks around the country? Our ASAP program, we're coming into schools and we're in so many schools that we have to turn them away. And then we have our adaptive programs where we host our open gyms. We need to be in more gyms so we can serve more people. The more generous hearts we can get donating to our mission, the more good we will do. We need to move this organization to the next part of the mission and make sure that it is sustainable for decades to come, well beyond Damian Buchman.
Good morning. listening to everything this morning kind of took away all my thunder, I feel like. Not that I have a lot of thunder to give, but I am completely and entirely moved by the connections that have been made throughout today's service. I might go a little all over the place here because sometimes I'm not quite sure what direction to go. But what moves me the most is that 30 years ago, I walked out of Children's Hospital of Wisconsin, the one that survived the unsurvivable. The one that was not expected to see my 15th or 16th birthday, yet alone be 45 years old. I wasn't expected to survive. I wasn't expected at this point to still be standing on my own 2 feet. I am filled with joy today as I'm healing from my 28th knee replacement and revision. That is what brings me joy. In most cases, you would have no idea that I have a disability or limitation because I'm not usually wearing a big knee brace like this, 6 weeks post-surgery. So you wouldn't know, and it's become kind of an invisible thing. I grew up right down the street here at the end of Lilly in Elm Grove, at the end of Lilly Road. And I can remember, it's just so many memories are flooding back to me, but I can remember getting out of the car. I was 13 years old. We were at Grosh Foods. Everybody remember Grosh Foods? If you've been here for a while, you remember Grosh Foods. So we're in the parking lot of Grosh Foods, and I get out of the car, and an elderly person continues to berate my mother because how were we parking in handicap parking? How was that okay? I was 13. 13 years old, the first time I experienced somebody telling me I can't possibly be disabled because I'm a child. Wouldn't that be great if that was true? Wouldn't it be great if that was real? Fast forward to the time I'm 18 years old. I grew up actually knowing my childhood hero. My love, my first love ever was beach volleyball. And God's plan for me when I was 12 was to be a pro beach volleyball player. At least that's what I thought. As we all know, we're not in control of the plans. But that's what I was going to do, and my hero was St. John Smith, and my hero brought me to the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta. And I'll never forget this incident either. My mom has always fought for me. She touches on this verse in Matthew 19:26. It says that Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." So I'm backtracking a little bit, but the doctors, the second time I got diagnosed, literally told my mom to take me home and let me die. They saw no way I could survive. And then when they found treatment, they said, well, that treatment, that's going to kill him before the cancer does. And that almost happened too. It took my mom, it took the hospitals, it took my family, it took my own will to survive what they didn't think I could survive. And on that 1996 day, that story goes as such, the same as Grosh Foods, but a little more, rambunctious, I'll say my mom was, and that's probably using a nice word. I'm down in the front, sitting in the handicap seats of the major bleachers that were at the beach event for the Olympics. And I'm standing up and I'm clapping and I'm cheering for my childhood hero. And someone finally has the, gall, we'll say, to say, what are you doing in those seats? Boy, did they light a fire under my mom. Holy cow. She turned around and just hauled off on this woman. Probably not the most Christian thing she could possibly do, but she knew that she helped her son walk through life at this point, having 2 limb salvages, probably 10 surgeries by that time, at least. I'm up to 40 now. At least 10 surgeries by that time, and having been told that her son was supposed to die, and here's somebody questioning the level of ability that her child had or didn't have. I felt sorry for her. I asked my mom to sit down multiple times. She continued to refuse. But this whole section went silent. And we always get stuck in those moments where I appreciate it. We want to stand up for people with disabilities and be in this space of, do you really belong in that place? Let them determine that. I'm just going to throw that out to everybody right now. Let them determine that. If they're abusing it, that's up to them and their soul and their consciousness. Because that's been my entire life to this day. I could share multiple more stories than that, where I just wasn't disabled enough to use the supports I needed, is apparently what people thought. And I'm going to back into it's not your fault. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Judge Derek Mosley. He does a great speech on racism, right, and systemic racism. And he keeps pointing out through his speech how it's not your fault because it's just being fed to you constantly. You don't even realize it. I started to realize that recently in this ableism space. I started to realize we grew up, most of us, with parents and people who said, don't point, don't stare, don't say anything, don't ask any questions, don't. And that's part of the problem. Any one of those people will tell you, ask. Talk to me. I'll tell you. No doubt you have questions. Part of the world of being disabled and having a disability or interacting with people with disabilities is being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? I will acknowledge the differences. It looks different. I will share a story. My board chair for the Ability Center, his name is Scott Luber. Scott has muscular dystrophy. He went from a degenerative disease, being able-bodied and walking as a child and running and playing, to slowly his body degrading over time. He's 63 now, and the first time I met Scott, he was being fed by his caretaker. It was different for me, and I'm in this world. It was odd for me. It took me time to get comfortable with it, and now it's just normal. Now I just see Scott. The interesting thing that we heard so much today about, which is why I'm struggling with, what is it that I can all possibly say that you guys haven't covered already? But in the book, what was the theme regarding the deaf sister? It was so much less about what her sister can't do and so much more about what her sister can do. See, that's the root of ableism. The root of ableism is stuck in we think that people with disabilities need to be fixed. That's what we believe. That's the medical definition of it. We think that people with disabilities need to be fixed. And what's difficult is there's such a broad spectrum of people with disabilities. Not only did we hear that it's the largest minority group, which it is, one we can all be a part of at any time, I talk about that as TABS. I say we all belong to one demographic, and we call that TABS. And it stands for temporarily able-bodied. So whether it's disease, or it's an accident, or it's the aging process, none of us can escape the need for greater opportunity, greater access, future needs, where we still want to be seen. What we said about the beach was, if the beach was your jam in your 20s, it's still going to be your jam in your 80s, you're still going to love it. The question is, can you get there? The number of donors we had for Bradford Beach who said, I can't wait to take my elderly mom there. I can't wait to take my elderly dad back there. They loved the beach. They went to Bradford Beach all the time. One of our board members who had MS, the first time he landed back on that beach was 25 years since he had been in the shores of Lake Michigan, because he had MS. And you cannot possibly even write this story that I'm going to tell you right now, which is another individual. His name was Tim Oknikowski. He worked for the Milwaukee County Board for People with Disabilities, the Office for People with Disabilities. On the day he retired was the day we opened the beach. Well, Tim became a quadriplegic at Bradford Beach, jumping into Lake Michigan when he was 18. The next time he walked back on that beach was the day he retired, at 62, I believe. So almost 40 years that he wasn't able to access something that we thought, well, because the Americans with Disabilities Act exists, isn't everything accessible and isn't everything inclusive? No. ADA is just a code of compliance, and it is written as such to get everybody out of it, in most cases. So most people don't even have to do anything at the end of the day. And that becomes the situation where, again, you were always told, don't stare, don't do this, don't ask questions, don't. I've gotten comfortable with, if you can believe it, they're not here, and if he was here, you would know he was here. I have a 7-year-old redhead full of fire at all times. He'd be running the aisles. You would know exactly who I was talking about. But he was 5 when he met a friend of mine who's a congenital quad amputee. And yeah, Steve's already talking about Lennon. Oh, Steve is my neighbor. Hi, Steve. Steve's like, yep, I know Lennon. That kid is full of it. But Lennon, we kept pointing to my friend John on all of his limbs. What's this? What's that? What's going on here? What's going on there? After a while, I looked at John. I was like, is that okay? Are you all right? Is this comfortable? He's like, yeah, totally. John wanted to be included. John wanted to share his story. John wanted to let Lennon know who John was. So in most cases, it's all about asking those questions. I'm going to talk a little bit here about how did we get here in this place, right? This is I am so moved by the level of inclusion here. It's amazing. And we have moved so fast as a society. So earlier you heard me in the introduction, Eddie gave just about everything in my world away. So thanks for that. Of the DEI plus A, right? We've had the LGBTQ plus. We're learning more, we're accepting more, we're understanding more, we're hearing more. But when we talk about DEI, the A is missing in most cases. Not everybody says DEI. And the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement, AddAbility, has given a voice to people with disabilities that was never been gotten before. It's given an opportunity for people to raise their hand and say, but what about me? And everybody's like, yeah, what about you? They're coming from a heart space and they're saying, I see you. What do you need from me? And that ability is so important because now I really feel seen. There's three things I talk about when I design things like we designed at Bradford Beach. How is this application making everybody feel welcome, wanted, and comfortable? Those are not the same thing. And we all seek that space out, right? We all seek the spaces that make us feel welcome, wanted, and comfortable. If we're not having those feelings, we're not coming back. But in this space of disability, even though in 1990 we passed the ADA, which isn't even that long ago, it's the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's a little bit over 30 years ago now. Only since 1988, this is how fast we're moving, did we start the use of person-first language. Are you guys familiar with that? So recently, you actually had the co-founder of Good Friend Inc. here a couple of weeks ago, I think. Well, my sister is the other co-founder of that organization. I have a niece and nephew on the spectrum, right? And so she would say, not I have an autistic son, I have a son with autism. That's the person-first language. But let's talk about that story for a second because my niece, turns out, has a superpower. So back to that can versus can't scenario, okay? She's on the spectrum and we would see that. We would identify her in that way. Actually, they identify as they, them now. You would see them as an individual with autism and think, what are they incapable of? Well, it turns out she was the best singer in the state of Wisconsin. They were the best singer in the state of Wisconsin. Why? Well, because they have synesthesia. What does that mean? She smells notes when she hears them. So the judge couldn't even say to her anything. Looked at them and said, I'm supposed to critique you? But I don't know what to say? And it turns out they got a scholarship to go to Columbia College in Chicago. So again, when driven in what they can do, if we drive people with disabilities into what they can do, they will absolutely blow your mind every single time of what their capacities are, right? What their capabilities are. Not if we look at them and say what they can't do. So there's a little bit of language here. Again, that was the person-first language in 1988. The use of neurodivergent language didn't start until 1997. There was a campaign called Spread the Word to End the Word. Does anybody remember that campaign? That was from the Special Olympics, right? The word we were looking to end was the word retarded. That was 2009. That only took a decade. Led by children, primarily, the youth, made a change in just a decade, and now spread the word is the word inclusion. We're not ending a word, we're adding a word in just a decade. Then in 2010, there was a move for the International Day of Acceptance. I think it is January 21st, founded by a gentleman who has spinal muscular atrophy and lost his sister to the same disease. Then the Unity Day of Kindness, Acceptance, and Inclusion, this is done by the Pacers National Bullying Prevention, was done in 2011. Then we had the London Paralympic movement in 2012, which was huge and significant. And now, led by the Paralympics again, is called We the 15. It focuses on the fact that 15% of us actually have a disability, or 1.2%. So even if you don't look in the space of the 26% of people with disabilities, according to the Center for Disease Control, it is still the largest minority population that any one of us can be a part of at any given moment. So I learned that when I was 13. And I learned it thinking I was broken, feeling broken, wanting nothing more than to still be a beach volleyball player. That was still my goal, that was still my love, and that clearly wasn't the plan. I stumbled upon my organization. It was an accident. I was actually doing it for friends of mine who were amputees from my same disease. And I was planning to hand the organization to them and say, good luck, enjoy, have fun, this is for you because I love you, I see you, you deserve it. Well, they walked away. For some reason, God spared me for something great. And it is this organization, it is the many things that we do. We say many big words in our organization, like the country's first universal park. That probably sounds audacious, but it is. It will be the first universal park. We build inclusive playgrounds, but not universal parks. Bradford Beach might not look like it's the most accessible thing, but it only took that little piece of investment to make it possible for Tim to roll again. It only took a little bit of equipment. Are we familiar with the Pettit National Ice Center? It's a great center, multi-million-dollar center, but it's completely inaccessible. So until we added ice skating sleds at Red Arrow Park, nobody could ice skate in Milwaukee if you had some kind of limitation. And we added those hand cycles so people could bike again. And you saw Gianni. Gianni is on his way to compete internationally in track and field, all because of one opportunity where his mom thought he couldn't, and we showed him he could. So it's extraordinarily important that we do our best to include people with disabilities, that we see the person first and not the actual potential or perceived limitations. You have steps here, not a ramp. It's okay, because they're always going to climb that mountain if you let them through your doors and you give them the opportunity. I can't thank you guys enough for your time this morning. This has been absolutely moving, and I can't imagine a better way to spend my Sunday morning. So I turn it over to whoever's next in this space, and I thank you so much for your time and your ears and your wisdom and for taking a step forward today and making sure that this sermon connected to people of all abilities.
Oh, okay. Is this on? Okay. UUCW helps address human needs and advance social justice in our community through our Split the Plate program. Each month, we give half of all designated offerings to a nonprofit organization as a way to help us live our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Split the Plate partner for October is MATC Fast Fund, which provides students experiencing economic emergencies with rapid financial support, so they remain enrolled and achieve academic success. Let's hear from 3 students who have benefited from the Fast Fund program and have now stepped forward to become Changemaker Fellows. In this role, they work with faculty leaders to develop a support agenda, increase awareness about students' basic needs, and advocate for policy and practice changes. This improves the college's capacity to serve students overall.
College students have long struggled with the high costs associated with pursuing an advanced degree. It's even more of a challenge when a myriad of insecurities arise to block that path and make that goal even more daunting. but for 3 Milwaukee area technical college students.
My name is Kara Sternlieb and I'm a liberal arts major.
Garabri Wesley and I am a nursing major.
Jermaine House and my program is this.
These three cope with the immediate preventing be possible when immediate, vital, and willing help is sought and attained.
I have my undergraduate degree in radio, TV, and I took a Spanish class here a couple years ago, and I had a small balance left over that Fast Fund was able to take care of relatively quickly, so I was able to register for classes in time.
So I applied for the Fast Fund when I became delinquent on my electric bill, and they paid for it to become not delinquent.
The Fast Fund has helped me with a laptop and with a book for class.
Because of the assistance of the Fast Fund, not only were these students able to continue their studies, a lasting impression about the importance of helping others was made. So much so that, with Q12 faculty encouragement, Jermaine, Garabri, and Kara decided to pursue avenues that would take that impression further, one that could benefit a large number of MATC students who face the same challenges. And that's where the Believe in Students Changemakers Fellowship comes in.
The Believe in Students Changemakers Fellowship is a program where we learn about how to advocate, where we focused on basic needs, insecurities for students.
Day-to-day issues, things that kind of are outside of the realm of just school. So if we needed help with toiletries, food, bills, different costs, and we were able to come in and help out by organizing these things.
The students applied and were accepted as the first cohort of Believe in Students Fellows at MATC. They'd receive training, mentorship, and a fellowship stipend to learn about and develop methods of acknowledging student issues through social awareness advocacy.
Oh, I'm taking it back to the community. So what I want to do is be a social entrepreneur, using my business skills for social agendas.
I feel like my goals were definitely achieved through the fellowship.
To support MATC Fast Fund anytime this month, go to the UUCW website's Donate tab and select Split the Plate from the menu provided. Or you can text UUCW or mail your donation using the information found here. Thank you for supporting MATC Fast Fund and UUCW. We will now gratefully accept the offering.
There it is. Our second reading today, entitled Wild Emancipation for All of Us, was written by Rebecca Tausig, who uses a wheelchair. When I was small and just learning how to do life in my body, I didn't look for cues or ask for a line. My imagination ruled. I was entirely free to be, driven by the innovation my body inspired. This is the wild emancipation wish for all of us. A world where we are free to be, to move, to exist in our bodies, and without shame. A world that isn't interested in making all of us humans operate in the exact same way. A world that instead strives to invite more, include more, imagine more. That world sees the humans existing in the margins and says, you have what we want. What barriers can we remove so we can have you around? What do you need? How can we make that happen? And now, please stand in body or in spirit as we sing hymn number 1014, Answering the Call of Love. 1014.
sit or stand as you like. Our closing words as we go forward were written by Cheryl Block. As we go forward into this frightening, exhilarating, confusing, miraculous world, may we offer our comfort to the afflicted, our love to those who are lonely, and our wish for all to be safe. Amen. Blessed be.
Thank you.